Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Annihilating. And today I'm going to be giving you part 19 of What If Naruto Was the Otsutsuki King. Remember to get this one to 300 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends on your social media platform, and also stay in tune for What If Naruto Was Born in the Uzumaki clan. And I also post a new episode of What If Naruto Pushed Himself to His Limit over an Anime King 2, so go ahead and check out that and enjoy. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time hearing my voice, and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all for your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new, I'll be replying and talking back to all of you. So without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Begin the intro. So, the last time we left off, Naruto was forcefully brought down by the seals Jiraiya had implemented as the Toma seals connected to other seals on the ground. Tsunade had Hayashi immobilize Naruto for the moment as they feel like he couldn't move. Meanwhile, Mito, Sasuke and Ino were on the road when they saw thunder start to gather above the village, as it was right over the tower. Inside, Naruto decided to show them what he can really do by breaking the Toma seals. Power exploded out of Naruto in an unrivaled fashion that sent everyone sailing away from him. As the thunder and the lightning stormed through the sky, raising his hand up in the air, everyone noticed his eyes. They couldn't even fathom the power behind those eyes, as it was something they never seen before, so detailed and complex. Before Naruto could do anything though, Mito rushed in the room along with the others as they begged him to calm down. Seeing Mito there, Naruto calmed down as he went down. As he told her about the banishment, Mito was pissed as they couldn't do that to her brother after all he did for the village. Despite everything, Naruto didn't want Mito to change her goals and follow him on a road of banishment. He knew that she wanted to become Hokage, so the best thing was to do was to accept this. As he told her then, if she wanted to get unbanished, she has to become Hokage rather quickly to do that. As Mito was upset, she couldn't even take the joke right now. As Naruto told her that everything will be fine, because there is nothing in this world that could stop him from seeing her. The time passed after that, as Naruto went around as he spoke to the old man and his daughter at Ichiraku Ramen. The both of them were rather upset as they couldn't believe it, especially Amy. As Naruto and her, they were rather close, something towards a brother and sister type, as she couldn't believe this was happening. But Naruto told her that they cannot keep him from this village, as she told him to watch himself out there. After that, Naruto was at the gate, as Mito, Karin, Ino, all of them were there. He also went and spoke to Kakashi, giving the man instructions to watch over Mito while she was in the village. As Mito was still crying her eyes out, as Naruto whispered something in her ear that made her calm down. He also whispered something to Sasuke, and with that he headed off. Some time passed after that as Naruto was by himself, as a masked man appeared in front of him. The war is still going on at Kiere, as Haku could not tell Naruto about that, saying that they were on the rebel side, so she told Naruto that they were under the new command of the Mizukage, seeing that she just didn't want Naruto to get caught up in all of that. But Zabuza and Haku were under Meitarumi orders, as they were the rebel side. The masked man tried to put Naruto under his control, but he was shocked, as Naruto activated his Rinnegan, not showing his new eyes that he just obtained. With his Toma seals off, Naruto had great control over his power, so he was not leaking at all. As Naruto was able to cut right through the masked man dimension, shocking the hell out of him, slicing off his arm. The masked man had nothing to do but flee. At Konoha, Mito was tired of being a trouble to her brother, so she decided to do the best thing, as she knew that if she went with him for 3 years, he would just watch over her and protect her, and not focus on himself and get stronger. As he was always doing everything for her, she must find her way to become strong on her own. So she was going to take out the situation that Jiraiya put in front of her, to go on a 3-year training trip with him. We then skip back to Naruto as Naruto was attacked by Renji and his group that were sent by Kabuto, but Naruto completely annihilated them. As Guren then arrived, as Naruto remembered her from Orochimaru memories, as he spoke about Yukimaru shocking her, but before anything could escalate, they were surrounded by hundreds or probably even thousands of stone shinobis. So yeah guys, that was basically as we left off. You guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself. So let's start this new episode. We start this episode with Guren, as she was cursing in her mind. How did she get herself in this situation? They were surrounded by at least 1,000 stone shinobis, and she could feel the hate and the anger resonating off of all of them. They really wanted to kill the redhead in front of her, but he stood there with a calm expression on his face, not even showing fear in the slightest. But she knew that if they attack, she wouldn't be spared, seeing that he caught her talking to him. They were also looking at her with hateful looks as well, as she cursed herself. As one thought came to her mind, Yukimaru. If she died here, he would not get to see her for the last time. She would not see him again. She would just be gone and leave him all alone, and she didn't want to do that. You truly care about Yukimaru? She was snapped out of her thoughts looking at Naruto. What? She said. I said you truly care about Yukimaru. Of course I do, she said. Despite everything, he was the enemy, but there is no point of arguing or fighting him now, because they were surrounded and both of them were going to die. Do you see him as your younger brother? Naruto asked. We don't have time for this, said Guren. Answer my question, Naruto said to her. As Guren sighed. Yes, you already know what I did, so I decided to take responsibility for myself, and I was taking care of him until Kabuto. Kabuto, Naruto said. Yes, he took Yukimaru. He has him. He told me that I must come out here and fight you, or else I will never see him again. I had also hated you for killing Orochimaru. Yes, I know that, Naruto said. Despite your calm nature right now, if it wasn't for Yukimaru, I would have snapped your neck a long time ago. Guren moved back a little from him. I saw, in that snake memories, all of the awful and terrible thing you did. And you slaughtered people with a smile on your face to please that snake. The only reason you're not dead is because of that little boy. I have seen how much you changed when you got to know him, and you decided to spend the rest of your life to take care of him. That is the only reason I won't kill you, Naruto said. Well, it doesn't matter now, said Guren. We're both dead. Meanwhile, the leader of the stone group, his name was Onedo. The man was roughly 6 feet 2, as he had long black hair. This man had a vengeful look in his eyes. The reason being, his mother and father died, faced off against Minato in the 3rd Great Shinobi War, and now to find out that this boy is the son of Minato Namikaze and did that to their village, killing so many people in the process. It made the man vengeful, and now to see the boy completely ignoring them. Meanwhile, Naruto stepped forward. What are you doing? Said Guren. Naruto placed a hand on her shoulder. She felt his grip tighten as he thrust her up in the air with incredible strength. All of the stone ninjas were surprised. With one hand thrown her so far, Guren was shocked as she was about to scream when she felt something grab her. Looking up, she saw him. What the hell? Looking back down, he was still there. She looked up. This must be a clone. As she looked at him fully, You're flying, she said. As the clone didn't pay her any attention. What are you gonna do? She asked. The boss is getting you out of the crossfire. Meanwhile, Naruto looked at the man of the group. The man that looked down at him with so much hate. I'm guessing that you're the leader, Naruto asked. Onedo stepped forward. You insignificant brat. You dare to speak to me. You should be on your knees begging. But it's not like you're gonna get any forgiveness for what you did. Before you take this too far, you should know, I wasn't the one that attacked your village and killed your people. Huh? You were seen. You think you can fool any of us here? You think you will get any mercy? You would die for what you did. And We heard that you got banished from Konoha. So right now you have no one backing you. You're all alone. Do you really think that you can take on the entire village? You signed your own grave, boy, when you decide to attack us. And now Konoha has gone and kicked you out. Most of them chuckled hearing that. As they looked at him. He's acting like he's not scared. We should kill him, boss, one of them said. Onido pointed his hand towards Naruto. Maybe I will give you a quick and painless death if you go on your knees and beg. Now beg me, boy, he said. As he wanted to see that hopefulness looking in her eyes. He wanted to see the boy suffering and to know that Minato Namikaze is rolling around in his grave, watching him slaughter his son. Naruto turned away from the man, looking at the other people. If you don't want to die, I suggest you leave. But at least one of you will survive. To go back to the Tishikage and tell him what you saw here. But who should I pick? Naruto said. Onido was taken aback by that. Does this boy really think that he has the power to kill them all? Onido clenched his fists. You arrogant, insignificant. The ground broke under Naruto as he released a force of pure, unwavering dose chakra. Onido was sent sailing from the force of chakra alone, as many trees and plants were snapped away. The entire era under Naruto was rooted away, leaving Naruto in a small crater. As the rest of the Stone Ninjas were shocked, as they weren't taking the fact that chakra was so dose and powerful. As this boy, he was on a different level. Most of them already shaking, and those look in his eyes, it was just so cold and uncaring. Meanwhile, Guren was still being held up by the clone, as he was holding on to her shirt, despite that she felt like she was fully secured. Looking up at the clone, he seemed to show no emotion on his face, he was just watching. Down there, Onido threw a couple branches off himself. That's it! Ready man, he said as he went through hand sign, a few of them behind him, following him, as he slammed his hand on the ground. Mountain Breaker! As all of them slammed their hand on the ground. Guren was shocked to what he saw. The ground started to shake as the earth shaped up like a mountain, a large one surrounding Naruto, as it was coming in like a chasm, as the front of it exploded upwards as well, surrounding him completely with him in the center. Onido smirked. Now, he said as they applied more force, the entire thing crushed together, squashing Naruto in the center. As Onido pointed to another group over to the left. As they went through hand sign, he pointed to another group over to the right. As they went through hand sign. Earth style. Drilling spears, they said. Piece of the earth started to break away. As Guren was just watching this all in shock. As the piece of earth came together and turned to giant earth spears. One of the Stone Ninjas rushed forward and threw a large roll of explosive notes that landed all around the mountain that was squashing Naruto in the center. The earth spears made contact, driving into the mountain with so much force. The entire platform of the ground was shaking. The ninja then went through one hand sign. As Onido smiled, do it. As the ninja released, the massive explosion tore through the fabric of everything right there. Most of the Stone Ninjas had to jump away or shield themselves with earth walls. As the clone dressed back in the air with Guren. Guren was shocked. No one could survive. She quickly stopped talking when she realized the clone was still holding on to her, seeming unfazed by all of this. Is he really alive? She asked. The clone didn't say anything. Guren, knowing that she wouldn't get anything out of that, she just went silent, waiting. Meanwhile, Onido had a triumphant smile on his face. There is no way he could have survived that. It seems like the Tishikage sent an overkill amount of shinobis. It was a waste to send so much of us. The boy was pathetic. How he got the drop on the hidden stone was beyond me. I hope you're watching, Yellow Flash. In your grave right now. We slaughter your pathetic son, he said. Alright man, let's... Onido couldn't get to finish that sentence, as his body was sent sailing away. Everyone was shocked when they saw it was a feet that connected into his face. As the feet slowly lowered back to the ground. As the Stone Ninjas stepped back, some of them falling down to the ground. How is this possible? As the one that threw The explosive tags were the closest to Onido. As he looked down at Naruto, who was just standing there, with an unreadable expression on his face. "How are you still alive?" he asked. "Was that supposed to kill me?" Naruto said. The Stone Ninja channeled a great portion of chakra to his feet. Spinning around, he delivered a solid kick ready to take off Naruto's head. Bringing a hand up, Naruto stopped it, shocking the hell out of the Stone Ninja. Before he could say anything, Naruto grabbed the Stone Ninja feet and spun him around, throwing him into a group, but not before touching his chest slightly. The ninja could feel his heart beating abnormally as his friends caught him. What is this?" he said. He then started to pick himself back up. "What's wrong?" another asked, as his heart started to beat abnormally. Naruto raised his hand with a simple snap of his finger. His body started to light up, the Stone Ninja telling his friends to run, but it was too late, as he exploded outwards, killing a lot of them in the process. Naruto looked down at his hand. "It seems my chakra can be a source of explosion," he said. He then looked back around him. As he was still surrounded, Onido pulled himself from where he was sent flying, as he coughed up a few blood, as he could feel that several teeth in his mouth was destroyed. "You rotten bastard," he said. "I don't know how you survived that." "Hey boss, you done?" said the Naruto on the ground, as Onido looked up to see another Naruto in mid-air. "Yeah, you can go now." The clone dispelled itself. As Guren looked up, what the hell? She thought that was the real one down there. But the real Naruto was in mid-air, and he had some strange orb in his hand. Onido looked up in shock because this is a big disadvantage. For him to be able to fly, none of them can fly except for Tsuchikage. Naruto then threw the orb up in the air. The orb then broke. As all of them watched, it was like literal lightning came from the orb that started dance in the sky. "The manipulation of lightning is so intriguing," Naruto said, as the lightning started to dance above him. Naruto looked down as he looked at Onido. Stretched out his hand. "Come," Naruto said. Onido felt his body being pulled violently as he was ripped from the ground, as he was sent straight into Naruto's grasp, grabbing Onido by the throat. Onido couldn't even feel his body anymore. What did you do to me?" he said. "Don't worry, it's not permanent," Naruto said. "I deem you the one to go and tell your Tsuchikage about what happened. You are the leader. And make sure you get everything," Naruto said. "Show him that if he wants war, I can give him war." Releasing Onido, Onido realized he was stuck in mid-air, as he couldn't move at all. As he started to curse at Naruto, Naruto just backed away from him. Raising his hand, the Stone Ninja stepped back in fear and shock. One of them dropped their blade on the ground and fell to his knees. Is this the power of a god?" he said, seeing Naruto holding the lightning like a whip in his hand. The lightning just dancing around him. He brought his hand back and thrust the whip forward. The ninjas couldn't even blink because it took less than a second. With so much speed, the lightning hit the ground. A shower of pure electricity went out. The ones who were close enough didn't even see what happened before they died. Their bodies were instantly reduced to nothingness as the lightning just evaporated them. Their skin, their bones gone in a second. The rest of them tried to flee or use some kind of earth jutsu to protect themselves. But Naruto flipped the whip around, tearing through the ground and came out the other side, tearing their bodies to nothingness. Onido could only watch as his people got slaughtered. The whip killing at least 200 ninjas with each swipe. As Onido didn't know what to do or say. This was just beyond human. Looking at the boy right there doing all of this, with that cold expressionless emotion on his face, as Onido felt defeated, as he didn't feel that there was anything he could do. Naruto released the whip as it just vanished in nothingness. Only a few ninjas remaining out of 1,000. He slammed his hands together. The wind started to howl wildly, as a massive tornado was formed right in front of him, sending the tornado plummeting straight down to earth. The tornado started to behave wildly, as it started to suck everything around to them. Everyone was being pulled into it, Despite him trying to push their body underground, the entire ground was rooted up so it couldn't be stopped, as they were sucked straight into the tornado. As Guren could only watch as she heard the screams of terror. Blood was all over the place as the tornado literally shredded their body into nothingness. Tiny winged blades inside of it, as their body was reduced to nothing. At that moment, Onido lost all hope at that. Seeing all of his men down there were just completely obliterated within minutes by two ferocious attacks that he has never seen used before. Lightning that was being used as a whip, tornado that was so big that towered even over the largest tree. As all of his men were ripped to shreds, everyone completely annihilated. Onido then felt a force as his body was sent violently, smashing into the ground. He coughed up another set of blood. He could now feel his body useful again. As he then saw Naruto land in front of him in a crushing motion. Picking up himself, Naruto looked around as the tornado had subsided. All of the mangled body parts, blood splashed all around. So, do you still want to fight me? Naruto asked. Onido gulped as he remained quiet, despite being a proud stone shinobi. This was just too much, and the redhead hadn't even breaking a good sweat yet. Seeing all of his men dead, what's the point, he said as he stood up. As he stepped towards Naruto with the intent to go and die himself because he knew that was the only thing that was going to happen. Oh, don't worry, Naruto said. I'm not going to kill you. As Onido was preparing to go through hand signs, Onido slammed his hand on the ground as her earth fist came out of it to hit Naruto. Naruto raised his hand and simply absorbed the chakra from the jutsu. Yet you still stand against me. You, shinobis, are quite stupid. But your life will be spared because of two things. You are the commander of this group, so you see what I can really do. You should go home and tell your Tsuchikage about this. I know that old man of yours has seen war before, so tell him if he wants war with me. Tell him that more of his children in the village will be growing up without parents. As Naruto turned his back to Onido as complete show of disrespect, Onido stood there. Not knowing what to do, the man felt utterly broken. Despite wanting to fight back, his body was just afraid to attack Naruto. Onido collapsed to his knees as tears literally started to pool from his eyes. Many of these people here was his friends, but now all of them annihilated by one boy. But he has to go back and tell the Tsuchikage about what happened. He couldn't just leave everything as a guess. Naruto walked off as a clone descended down to earth. Guren couldn't even look at the sight anymore. Despite she being heartless and killing many people in her past, she never saw a massacre being done in this way before. This was a complete slaughteration. None of them even stood a chance. What are you? Guren said after landed. As the clone vanished, Naruto looked towards her. A smirk on his face. Probably God, he said. Guren looked at him not knowing if he was joking or serious, as he had an amused look on his face. As Guren looked at him, what was she doing? He was the enemy. Seeing that twitch on her face. So you still see me as the enemy? Naruto asked. Guren just looked at him, not saying anything. Well, alright then. If you want to fight, let's begin. Raising his hand in the air, a black staff was created as he pointed towards her. Well then, shall we begin? He asked. As Guren felt her body trembling, she could just already see her death if she go up against this boy. Dropping her guard, she relented. Smart move, Naruto said. Come here. What? Said Guren. I said come here. As Guren looked at him skeptically. I'm going to help you find Yukimaru. She was surprised. Why would you do that for me? She asked. And aren't you tired after what you just did? Well, not really, Naruto said as he looked at his hands. To be frank, I've never yet feel tired when fighting an opponent. I've never yet pushed myself to that limit to say I'm weakened. So no, I've never even felt that before. But perhaps soon, he said. But that is when I'll know my limits. That is when I'll have to break through them. What are you talking about, said Guren. Never mind, Naruto said. Now come here. What are you gonna do, Guren asked. I said come here. She reluctantly stepped forward. Raising his hand, he placed it on her chest. Looking at him for a few seconds, nothing happened. But then a golden light came over his hand. As Guren felt something shot through her body, her eyes went wide. What is this? She said. A few seconds later, he removed his hand. What did you do to me? She asked. It's hard to find the boy when I've never sensed his chakra signature before, but I can sense it through you. Seeing that how much you have been with him. You can really do that? Said Guren. I've never heard of anyone that can do that before. Well, I guess I'm not normal, Naruto said. Meanwhile, at the Hidden Rain, I believe the boy is gonna be much more problematic than we thought, said Madara as he was sitting down, looking at Nagato and Konan, as the three of them were in a rather dark room, only illuminated by a candle. The rain was pouring outside as usual. Have you seen him? Said Konan. Yes. I made an appearance to the boy, and he has something I've never seen before. And what is that? Said Nagato. Eyes like yours. Mine's? Yes, you're a Rinnegan, but something different. What do you mean by that? Said Konan. They were golden. Golden Rinnegan? Konan said, as she was rather surprised. This was the first time she was hearing anything of this. The information I received. The boy, sister as we know it, is the 9-tailed Jinchuriki host. Zetsu has informed me that the boy is overprotective of her, so it will be hard to get to him. He's just a boy, said Nagato. Despite being strong for his age, I am still a god. When the time comes for us to collect the 9-tailed Jinchuriki host, I will be the one to go for her and crush this boy if he stands in my way. Konan looked over at Nagato. Knowing that the masked man wasn't saying anything, he saw the boy as a bigger threat than she thought, and she knew that. And she was afraid that Nagato's arrogance might get himself killed. But for now, time will just tell. Meanwhile, Kabuto was at his laboratory. A different one than the one that he was at before. It has been a couple of hours now. He has not received any report, knowing well that Guren is probably dead. Seeing how fast Naruto dispatched the others, after seeing that army of stone shinobi arrive, he decided to flee, as he know that Naruto is not dead. He know that. He can just tell it. He seen the boy wipe out the entire Stone army when he came to the Hidden Zone. Even though him and Orochimaru sent an army after the boy, he wiped them out, including Yukimaru. Yukimaru was a talented fighter, and despite everything, most of those stone ninjas that came, a lot of them were Chunins. So, he know God well that Naruto is not dead. He will have to find another way to plan something else. He heard footsteps. Turning his head, he saw Yukimaru. Oh, Kabuto-san, said Yukimaru. Is Guren back yet? I haven't seen her in some time now. Why can't I go visit her? Asked Kabuto, held in a frustrated sigh. There is no point of keeping this boy alive anymore. He was using him so he could keep Guren on his side to use her whenever he wants. But now that she's most likely dead, he doesn't see any point. He looked around at the boy with a hateful look on his face. Yukimaru stepped back in shock. Kabuto-san, what's wrong? You insignificant brat. You're annoying, you know that, said Kabuto. What? Said Yukimaru. There is no point of keeping you alive now. Guren is dead. Tears instantly built up in Yukimaru's eyes as he stepped back. Guren-san is what? As he started to tremble. Yes, she's dead, and you will never be able to see her again. She was just a worthless kunoichi anyway. It doesn't matter now, because you're nothing. And you will have to leave this place as well because I'm abandoning this place. And you're going to be left on your own. Fend for your goddamn self, he said. Kabuto's eyes then went wide, as he couldn't believe it. So quick, he said. Turning his head around slowly, he saw Naruto stepping inside. No Guren with him. Ah, Naruto-san, said Kabuto, backing back a little. Yukimaru lifted up his head as he wondered who was that. I never thought you'd find me so quickly, said Kabuto. Naruto narrowed his eyes at Kabuto. Do I know you? Naruto asked. Kabuto was taken aback by that question, as he looked at Naruto to see if he was joking or something, but the look on Naruto's face seemed uninterested. You must be kidding, right? I was with Lord Orochimaru, his right-hand man. Oh, you were with that pedophile, Naruto said. Sorry, I don't keep uninterested people in my mind. Naruto then turned towards Yukimaru. Come with me. As he started to walk forward, Kabuto see Naruto just slowly walk past him. A smirk came on his face as he activated his chakra scalpels. He brought his hand down right to the back of Naruto's neck. But Kabuto noticed veins at the side of Naruto's face before a violent force smashed him through the wall, and he sent flying to the other wall and flying through the other wall before he slammed into the last wall, broken. His body slumped down as he went unconscious. Yukimaru looking at Naruto with fear as he started to step back until he was pressed up against a wall. Nothing's gonna happen to you. I'm going to bring you to Guren. What? Guren's alive? Come with me, Naruto said. How can I trust you, said Yukimaru. You can't. One hit to the back of the boy's neck. Naruto picked him up by his shirt. I hate stubborn kids, he said, as he started to walk off with him. Meanwhile, Guren just dealt with the foes outside, as Naruto told that Yukimaru was here, and some sound ninjas, remaining sound ninjas under Kabuto's guard came out to stop them. But Naruto wasn't interested in dealing with them, so Guren was the one to stay behind. Guren wiped away the sweat from her brow. As she sighed, it was finally over. Slumping down against the wall, Guren, she heard, as she turned to see Yukimaru running towards her. A smile came on her face as the boy ran in and hugged her tight. She simply hugged him back, as she was happy to see him, as she saw Naruto walking out with that unreadable expression on his face as usual. As she didn't see him as an enemy anymore despite killing Orochimaru. She knew that Orochimaru was just using her as a tool, but she was still loyal to the man. But Yukimaru was the one that meant everything to her. So, she was grateful. Looking up at him now, she wondered what was next. The next morning, I don't believe this, said Kurosaki. How could one boy? You said that he took the Chunin exams recently, right? That means he's roughly my age. How could one boy take on an entire army of stone ninjas? There was 1,000 of them, old man. How could he kill them all? Oniki just shook his head. I got the report from Onido. The man is right now going through some mental problem after seeing the slaughteration of his entire platoon. He isn't even speaking well. But he told me what happened. I guess I underestimated the opponent too much, but I still can't believe it. 1,000? As Oniki was shocked when he heard that. He couldn't believe that at all. 1,000. That was beyond anything a kid could do. And yes, he was a kid. How could a kid kill 1,000 shinobi by himself? That was unbelievable. As Oniki stood there, he will have to take more drastic measures towards this. This boy first come here and destroy their place, attacking their hospital, killing so many people, and then he still fight. He still put up a fight. He know that Konoha banished his boy, but even thinking about them brought a rage to him, as he was pissed off about them. Despite the boy not being a part of their ranks anymore, he wanted them to pay as well. But he couldn't offer to bring a fight towards Konoha now. If a single boy in their ranks could destroy 1,000 of his ninjas, how? What would the entire force of Konoha do? As this was really starting to piss him off. Despite everything, most ninjas in this world right now cannot kill 1,000 ninjas. That was back in the old days, the times of Hoshirama, Madara. But how could this one boy do this? He still didn't understand, as it was making him getting furious every time. Onedo has gotten mental problems. The man had stopped speaking after giving his report. Oniki sighed, as he just didn't know what to do now. 1,000 ninjas were just wiped out like that. He will have to report this to all of their loved ones. What now? Said Kurosaki. To be honest, I have no idea. Kurosaki was shocked. Usually her grandfather was always in control of the situation and always creating a backup plan for everything. But for him to have no idea, something was terribly wrong. She let out a frustrated sigh. She clenched her fists. Some of her friends got killed in that explosion, and she wanted this boy to pay as much as everyone else. But right now things were dangerously bad. As if 1,000 ninjas couldn't do it, she couldn't go up against him by herself. Well, we have to do something about this old man. He must pay for all of his crimes. He will, said Onki. I will just have to think about the best possible solution, as he couldn't be affording to waste his ninjas in an onslaught and losing them. As he will have to get the rest of the information from Onedo. Onedo has not told him what the boy did. What kind of power did the boy use to wipe out all the ninjas? The only thing that he said was the boy eradicated all of them, and then he started to go off about blood, bodies and all that. It seems like his mind got traumatized. In his walk here, his mind was going over everything that happened, and finally snapped to him, and he was starting to act crazy. As Oniki sighed. Time skip. It was 5 days since the whole event. The thing has been kept on the down low, seeing that only Onedo survived, as the old man has been keeping it down. Naruto was currently up in a tree, as he had a bingo book in his hand. Looking at his name, he was smiling. Already, he said, as there was a double S rank by his name, as it read, Naruto Uzumaki, missing ninja, double S rank. That was quite surprising, seeing that it was always a famous shinobis. Was he already famous in the world already, he thought to himself. He knew this would happen sooner or later, when he revealed his true power. And up to this point he has not even shown everything he can do. And the things that Ishiki gave him, those abilities, what would they say when they see those things? As he was wanted by the Hidden Stone, as his bounty was 100 million, as his smile was on Naruto's face, it seems that they really wanted to kill him, to put this incredibly, ridiculously high price. Meanwhile, in a dark lab, Kabuto was currently sitting down in a chair, as he was going through some books and some scrolls. A smirk came on his face as he found what he was looking for. Even in your death, you amaze me, Lord Orochimaru, he said. Just watch out, Naruto Uzumaki. Despite how strong you are, I will bring you to your knees, Kabuto said. It will be your sad mistake to not kill me right then and there. I will watch you scream in agony and pain before I end your miserable life, he said, as he gave off a mad laugh before going back to the scrolls. Meanwhile at Konoha, what the hell? Said Mito, as she was currently looking at the bingo book with Karen. But what happened? This wasn't in there before. They didn't put him as a double S class from the explosion that was said to go off by my brother. That wasn't him. So what happened from then till now for him to be a double S class? I have no idea, said Karen, as Mito was taken aback by this. The new bingo book had Naruto's name in it, and he was a double S class with 100 million Ryu. As this was just incredible. For one single person, the stone is really going all out. At the Hokage's office, Jiraiya sat at the windowsill as he sighed. Things are really getting bad, said Tsunade, despite banishing Naruto, as his name was still in the bingo book, and not to mention his sister was still here. Despite the stone not having any connection with her or not coming after her, Tsunade knew, after Naruto's last threat to her when he was going away, if anything should happen to that girl, this ninja world would see something even more fierce than the 9-tailed fox on their hand. That is why I should more than take her, said Jiraiya. Tsunade sighed, but in this time, this is the best thing now. We will be on the road where I can constantly get information and find out whether the stone is moving against her or not, and also keep tabs on the Akatsuki. Despite everything, we have to say it. The kid is really dangerous. And if he turns his wrath on Konoha, a lot of people are going to die, said Jiraiya. But if we can keep Mito close and protect her, Naruto will not go against his village as long as she is there. You know that she is his trigger. She is his trigger. Despite everything, he will not go against her or do anything in any way to hurt her. He just loves her too much. I guess we have to be grateful for that, said Tsunade. But what did she say about this? Well, she wants to come. Really? Yes. She didn't want to cause her brother any more trouble. She wanted to get strong on her own to prove to him that she can take care of herself as well. Recently, she has started to be seeing the true world in a whole different light. She is starting to see the hatred and rage and anger in this world. And she wants to show him that she can protect herself, knowing that if he's always there, protecting her, what if one day he's not? What if one day he's not fast enough? So she wants to protect herself. That is why she's willing to come with me. Well then, I guess I have to permit this. With you being there, everything will be okay then. But I want to know, what did the kid do to bump him up to a double S rank ninja? This is just unbelievable. He's just 13 years old. Suddenly, Shizune rushed into the room. What's wrong, Shizune? Asked Tsunade. It's Naruto. He's here. Tsunade sighed, figuring that something like this would happen. As Jiraiya shook his head, we have to take care of this. If the other village find out that we're still alive with him, it can cause massive trouble for Konoha. Tsunade sighed as well. Anvu, she said, as the Anvus flashed in the room. Moments later, Mito jumped up as she hugged Naruto as tight as she can. You're here, big brother, she said. As they were currently in the house, Karin had a smile on her face as she was happy to see him as well. As Naruto looked over to her with that smile, and she just simply smiled back. It's time, Naruto said as he looked at Mito. Oh, about that, she said. What's wrong, Naruto asked. Big brother, I know that everything is kind of stressful on you right now. I don't want to make it worse. I don't want to come with you, she said. What? Naruto said, looking at her. You can still go ahead and train Sasuke, but if I was out there, you would spend all of your time focusing on me and trying to protect me in any way you can. And I don't want to be a burden. But you're not, Naruto said. I know you say that because you will never admit it. You love me too much, but I just don't want to be. Jiraiya has offered to train me for 3 years. And don't worry, he will protect me as well. He knows you'll be angry if anything happened to me. And we will be staying out of the spotlight, so we won't be running into any stone shinobis. You can trust him. Naruto looked at her. Are you sure this is what you want? I'm sure, she said. Hey, I want to come as well, said Karin, as Naruto looked over at her. Well, if Mito is gonna go away and you're gonna take Sasuke, I wouldn't have much people to talk to, so I want to come with you guys as well. Seeing like what you're going with the Toad Sage, I want to come with you, Naruto, she said. As Naruto looked at her, I don't see any problem in that, he said. Really? She said, as Naruto nodded. Naruto then turned back to Mito. Are you sure this is what you want? Positive, she said. Alright then, I'll have to talk to him first. As Mito nodded, Karin, pack your things, he said. I'll be back soon. With that, he turned to pure electricity and just vanished. As Mito turned towards Karin, with a smile on her face. What's wrong? Karin asked. Well, you're gonna be spending 3 years with my brother and Sasuke. Did you really think I'm not gonna tease you about that? Tease me about what? Asked Karin. As Mito chuckled to herself. What? You know it's not like that. Huh, keep on saying that. Why is your face so red? Oh, you're blushing, Mito said. As Karin got up and ran off to her room to get her things packed. Meanwhile, Tsunade was in her office with her Anvus, as she knew that he would come here. Jiraiya was standing at the windowsill, as Naruto appeared in a flash of lightning. What are you doing here? She said. That was the first words that came out of her mouth. Well, I'm just here as a precaution to tell you that I'm gonna be taking Sasuke out of the village. Tsunade sighed You are a banished ninja from this village. You're not going to be taking anyone, she said. Oh, well, then I guess we're going to have a problem because I already left with him. I'm just a clone. But I'm just informing you that you don't hold against the Uchiha. And to make sure you don't, let's just say I take him by force then. So if you talk to your council, you can just say I take him by force. Probably in 3 years I'll return with him. Naruto then turned his sights towards Jiraiya, as he looked at the man for a few seconds, not saying anything. He then spoke. You know, if anything happened to my sister, I'll kill you, he said. As he released a bit of killing intent, making the Anvus went on their guard. As Jiraiya narrowed his eyes at Naruto. You were the one that told her about this training trip. She seemed very happy in coming with you. So if anything shall happen to her, I'll make sure you die a painful, horrible death. Tsunade narrowed her eyes at Naruto, as she was about to say something along with Jiraiya. That's all I came here to say, said Naruto, as he burst away in lightning. As both of them looked at each other, as they had no idea what to do, the boy literally stepped in the village and just took Sasuke, and they couldn't do anything about it. The situation right now for them is real bleak. Despite being the Hokage, what could she do about him? After witnessing the power that she witnessed, she wouldn't want anything to wrath on Konoha right now, as if they went to battle him now, it will just affect Konoha in the biggest way. Jiraiya sighed as he knew he'll have to keep a better watch on Mito. As the words the boy spoke, he meant them. Moments later, Tsunade clenched her fists. I believe he thinks that just because he brought her here, he doesn't have to explain why he took her, said Jiraiya. Yeah, that's probably what he's thinking, said Tsunade, as she just got the report that Karin went off with him as well. Despite everything, she was glad that he was not having any problem against the village, as they could still see him as an asset once this entire thing is over with the stone. Naruto had already said his goodbyes to Mito. As he was flying in the air, Naruto came to a stop as he arrived in a clearing. Seeing his clone there, his clone saw him and dispelled itself. Sasuke stood there with an unreadable expression on his face, as Karin was just looking around. Naruto landed, so what now, Karin asked. Training, of course, Sasuke said, as he was ready to push himself now. He could finally, out here, finally find that bastard and kill him for what he did to his clan. Naruto looked at Karin to see her looking at him oddly. What's wrong? It's your hair. It's becoming even whiter than before. Slowly but surely, she said. As Naruto reached out and pulled a strand of his hair, as he see that he was really becoming white. As he wondered what is causing this change. But guys, and the end of this episode right here. I'm out. Peace.